Annabelle, Annabelle, and I sell.
Oh.
Go Annabelle. Did I ever tell you why I became a realtor and not a rapper?
Tell me why.
This is why.
Dang, you have the good beats.
But if I would, I have one jingle.
Okay, go.
Go.
Yo, this is Annabelle, and I sell.
I like that.
That's it.
That should be your voicemail. Yo,
That
this
should
is
be.
Annabelle.
And I sell.
Oh, yay. You're onto something. Yeah.
All right, guys. Hello. Welcome to the Listing Agent Podcast. My name is Keith Hernandez.
And I'm Jasleen Chavez. We're so excited to have you here today. This is a community-based realtors where you can learn and you grow with us. You know, we all have some space to learn and grow. So we're excited to have you guys here with us.
Today, we have a top producer, Annabelle Jimenez. Woo! Can I get a what?
What?
And today, you know, she's going to tell us a little about herself and, you know, how it works in her business. So, Annabelle, let's start with, tell us about yourself.
How did you become the Annabelle?
How did you become a realtor? What were you doing before being a realtor?
Okay, great question. So the reason I became a realtor was years ago, maybe it was about 8 or 10 back then. My mom used to buy property. And so I always found myself translating the contracts. So for some reason, my mom thought, hey, you know, you'd be good at real estate. So my past life, my first job ever, I was a letter carrier. And being a letter carrier, I was instilled the daily discipline about showing up, being at a certain place at the right time. So, but along with the hard labor and the discipline, obviously comes the job where it's a very tedious job and it's very it takes a toll on your body. So I eventually ended up needing back surgery. So I said, you know what, I can't do this. I could do this maybe in my early 20s, but am I going to do this? I didn't see myself going in there for the next 30, 40 years. So I ended up saying, you know what, let me just go ahead and please my mom. So I took the real estate exam, passed it. When I started, just everybody found out I had a license. So I started helping people. And in helping people, I figured, hey, this isn't a bad thing. Mm-hmm. So one thing led to another. So then my first year, remember I was licensed in May 2003. In December, I had closed 13 units.
Wow.
Which back then is a lot because you have to remember there's no internet. It's basically just Mike Ferry, the training, door knocking, cold calling. That's it. We didn't have cell phones. Mm-hmm. Very few people had emails. So, yeah.
Your first year, 13?
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Nice.
I was like happy with my 5.
Me too.
I was like, yes.
But then again, it took like, 300 doors a day? I was knocking like anywhere from 200-300 doors a day.
So that's how you prospect in the beginning, was just door knocking. Oh, cold calling too, I'm assuming. Or no?
Very, very little cold calling. It was more my comfort was door knocking because remember, my history was in the delivering mail. So it was like I was hitting 1,000 doors a day. And that was something that, okay, if at 1,000 doors a day and I'm making $60,000 a year, when I can door knock a fraction of it and make double the money, makes sense, right?
So when you said letter carrier, you're like a mail woman.
Yeah, a letter carrier. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
If I asked you to do a door knocking right now, role play, would you do it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'll
Okay.
be the homeowner and you knock on my door.
Knock, knock.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, Keith. My name's Annabella Jimenez, and I don't know if you realize, but your neighbor down the street just listed their 3-bedroom, 2-bath home for $800,000, and I was wondering, who do you know that would like to move into your neighborhood?
Wow. I think my daughter wants to buy a house.
Oh, your daughter wants to buy a house. Okay, perfect. And what's the best number I can reach her?
I'll take your contact information and have her give you a call.
Okay, perfect. And you know what, Keith? I've been doing this for a long time, and I know it's your intention to give my number to your daughter, but we all know what's going to happen when I give you the business card. You're going to forget, right? You're like, where's that damn realtor? So why don't we do this? I'm going to go ahead and take your daughter's number, but I promise not to call her until I have your permission. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. And since I have you on the phone, how long have you lived here?
Oh, gosh, I lived here for over 10 years. I didn't even realize the houses were going that high.
10 years. Wow. And how did you happen to pick this neighborhood?
My parents helped me buy the house.
Your parents helped you buy the house. Great. And if you were to move again, where would you go to next?
Gosh, I would love a pool.
You'd love a pool? Well, we can easily do it. I mean, with the equity that you have. So, and let me ask you this. When's the best time to find you a pool home?
You know what? I'm just kind of not in a rush right now. I'm just, whatever, browsing, nothing that I'm trying to move forward with right now.
Okay, perfect. Well, I know it all starts with a thought, and you've been thinking of the pool. If there was a way that I can make it happen, sell this home and find you your dream home within budget, would it be something you'd consider?
I consider.
Okay, perfect. And that's exactly why you and I need to meet. There you go. You
Sold.
She's like, I only need 10 to 12 minutes of your time.
Yeah.
So going to lead gen, I guess you could say. What are your main sources? So you door knock. Do you still to this day door knock a lot, or what's your main sources of lead gen? And
My main source is, there's a lot of people that say, you know what, I can't have X amount of production because I don't like to bother people. I don't want to call my friends. I don't want to call the people that I know. That's okay. It's like I used to feel the same way. And the only reason I never, early on, I never bothered my friends, family, because I didn't feel I had the experience. So therefore, I thought I was cheating them. I didn't want to come to them until I knew I was a professional that could lead them in the right direction, right? If not, I was cheating them. So answering your question, my main source of income was always door knocking. Door knocking, that's how I established my database. And then from door knocking, obviously with Success Leaves Clues, right? So then little by little, my family, early on, they started calling me because they knew the individual that I was. Maybe I didn't have the experience that was required, but they knew if I was helping other people, and yet who knows you better but your family and friends. So they knew I was trustworthy. So, they started giving me the deals, even though I didn't have the experience, but they knew I wouldn't guide them in the wrong direction.
And they always say like someone's heart is all like if you're a person with heart, it's better than someone with no heart and the ability to do something or the experience. So it seems like your family, like, look, I know Annabelle has a heart to do this, and she won't lead you in the wrong direction.
Exactly.
Sort of thing,
Exactly. So that was the first thing, door knocking. And then from door knocking, then you get a little bit more courageous. And then you start doing cold calling. And then from cold calling, it's a little mix of open houses. And then from open houses, then you have the little mix of the past clients, centers of influence. And then from there, you get ballsy, and then you start doing expireds. So, those would be the 5 top main lead sources.
Yeah.
How do you feel about online leads?
Online leads are good. It just depends on what you're looking for in production. At the end of the day, it has to make financial sense. So, online leads are good. Something's better than nothing. So especially when you have those, nowadays you have a lot of the referral leads where you give them a 25% referral fee once the lead closes. Those are better versus having like Zillow where you're forced to have like more of an expense on a monthly basis and not knowing, the quality of leads you're getting, But there's always a positive and a negative, because if you're forced to pay, you're under contract, then that's going to force you to show up every day. It's kind of like having coaching. A lot of people ask me, what's the number one thing that's going to get you to the next level? Believe it or not, it's coaching. I would rather have an amazing coach and have no car. Why? Because I know with that coach, it's going to get me that mindset. And remember, this business is 100% mindset. So if I have the right mindset, I know I can buy 10 cars versus having that one car and not having the ability to sell.
Yeah.
Make sense?
I do want to go back to that little skit right there. So you used to door knock a lot. That's how you said you built a lot of your database, right? So what are some objections that you've gotten at the door where it's really put you like against the wall? You're like, oh, how do I answer this? That you've overcome over the years to make that into not an objection for you.
I think the biggest objection has been, I'm going to be here till I die. I think that's one of the biggest ones. But other than that, I think it's been so long for me that, it's like, I don't think there's an objection I don't know how to handle.
What do you tell buyers when they say, I'm going to wait till the market goes down?
Okay,
Or I'm going to save more money?
Okay, you're going to save more money. Okay, perfect. Can I ask you this right now? If we were to sit down with a loan officer, how much money have you saved?
Probably about like 50,000.
50,000. Okay, perfect. And those 50,000, what has it done for you in buying power?
I mean,
Not much, right?
Just sitting there, I guess.
Yeah. If there was a way that I could show you how in the next, let's just say, let me go back a little bit. So how long did it take you to save those $50,000?
Honey?
A long time, baby.
How long would you say long time?
I'd probably say about
10
5,
years?
6 years.
Yeah.
Okay, 5-6 years. If there was a way that I could show you how to save $50,000 in 2 years through real estate, would you be interested?
Okay.
Okay, and that's exactly why we need to meet this Wednesday at 6 o'clock. You see?
So do you do a lot of buyer presentations?
I do because what happens is, especially in this industry, especially with Zillow and a lot of online leads, we're all basically sharing the same buyers, right?
Yeah.
So I've learned that in order for me to get into a vehicle or go meet a client, they have to prove to me why I should stop what I'm doing to go meet them. So I bring them in and test their qualifications and show me why I need to represent you. It's not the other way around. It's like you need to show me why I should work with you.
Yeah.
And I think with a lot of the online leads, it's a trust thing for the client, right? So I'm like, they probably recycled so many of these agents already. It's important to have that face to face. So one, yes, you're like, hey, why are you worth my time? But two, that they trust you. So that way they can go anywhere and they're not leaving because they trust you and what you say. You
Exactly. That's why it's important that you know your standards, you understand your why and the value proposition, and more importantly, that you care. You know, what's
Yeah.
that saying? People don't.
People buy from who they like and trust and something like that, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why I've learned, I've learned to filter. That's why pre-qualifying, making sure that you meet the client and making sure that you're a match, because at the end of the day, it's going to be like a 30 to 45 day marriage. So you have to make sure, that,
And that's a big thing. Like I've had clients where I've gotten qualified with my preferred lender. We're showing property. I'm just like not feeling it, And it's more like I tell them, hey, if you can't trust me, if you're going to question everything I'm trying to like encourage you to do, then I don't know if this is a good match. Because why am I going to be wasting so much? When you're with a client, you're texting, calling, all like for me, like all hours of the day. It's like if you're going to question a little bit, but if you're going to like downgrade the type of job that I'm doing, then maybe we're not the best match,
Yeah. And it's always important that they also remember that, it's like, remember, because imagine how much time you're taking away from your family, from your business. Because remember, every hour, like for example, do you know the hour, how much you make an hour when you're prospecting?
16, 13.
Yeah. It's on average, it's about $1,500 per hour.
Oh.
Depending, that's mine. So imagine if I have to go out for 2 hours, that's $3,000. Was it really worth it to go sit with this person for $3,000? And that's what you should be thinking. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to show you care, but at the same token is, I'm doing this for my family. And is this in the best interest of my family? And especially if they're not willing to commit to you. I mean, right?
Yeah.
So.
Especially since we work a lot of weekends as well.
I know.
Exactly.
And that's family time for a lot of people who have kids too. So.
And how many times have you found where you have this one buyer, you go out and it's like you're in the middle of a pool party and then they say, you know what, we have to see this house now. You go show it to them and it's like, oh, I really don't want it. Or they end up
I'm
writing
in my
the
bathing
offer,
suit.
I've been there.
or they end up writing the offer with someone else.
Been there too.
See? Yeah. So that's how we learn. We learn
Yeah.
and it's like those come, but very seldom, very rare, because you learn how to filter them.
Yeah.
Do you use what CRM do you use?
I use Lion's Desk and I use Realty Juggler. The reason being because technology is always changing. So Realty Juggler, what I found, it's for $100. You can get a good CRM that does automated emails and keeps me on track for the birthdays, house anniversaries, everything that I need for basically $10 a month, right? And then Lion's Desk I use a lot because Lion's Desk allows me to do direct messaging, which is I get a lot of leads from my social media. So I probably on average maybe about 10 a year, which is good, because I'm not that often on social media. So that's good. And so those are the two platforms that I use, for the CRM.
So do you drip your clients often? Like say you met someone at open house, they're like, hey, I'm not ready right now. What does your drip system look like, or how does that follow-up look like for a long-term potential client?
Okay, so what I do is what I found is two platforms. Through the company that I work for, they have what's called like a postcards and magazines. So as soon as I meet a seller or a buyer, what I'll do is I'll subscribe them to that subscription, and then they get a magazine like once a month. So they'll start receiving something from me once a month, and then I'll have a drip campaign where I'll just follow up with them. That's a little bit more recent. But in the past, if you don't have the means, you can get a good subscription. Like I think CoreFact has something of that effect, and maybe it'll cost you maybe about $100 a year, if any. I mean, it's very, very minimal to like have maybe 100, 150 leads per year, and you can subscribe to that. And then also the good old fashioned, just, put it in the calendar. When you meet them today, just put it in your calendar, and those are your lead follow-ups for the next 30 days, and little by little, you're going to start building your day. You're going to see, so it just becomes, the busier your schedule is, the more freedom you will have.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. So.
Interesting. As far as, I know we went through a market shock last year. What did you advise a lot of your buyers in that market? What are your thoughts on that?
You know what? It's crazy because I never saw that market. I never saw that market because the one thing that I have is I've learned to trust the process. So what I mean by that is I don't care what's happening on the outside. I just worry about myself because I honestly believe it's not the rates. It's not the type of loans. It's not the buyers. It's not the consumers. It's not the sellers. It's us, the realtors, that make this market. Because I know, Keith, we've had these conversations like where I'm like, pretty much, I'll let you know, hey, this is a market where we're headed. And how do we know this? Because we're in the trenches. So to answer your question, last year was probably one of my best years. I mean, I saw for the local board, there's top 10 realtors that are always nominated annually. And I knew the market had shifted when most of those realtors that are used to being with me at the top were not there. And it was some random realtors that I had never seen. And it's like, so I managed to stay exactly where I was at. So believe it or not, I made the same income. I didn't go up. I didn't go down. It was exactly the same income from 2021 and 2022.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, because I know for a lot of realtors, they kind of slowed down a little bit, or just the market in general. But
it's also what they believe, though.
Yeah.
Because if the realtor's like, the market's going to crash and we're all like this and that, like, what do you think you're portraying to your client? You're portraying exactly what you believe. So if you're like, because even right now, I'm like, this market's great, Even when it wasn't great in December, I'm like, this market's great. You have to buy. The most important thing is that you're buying something. Get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
And what people forget is that real estate's long term. Are you going to sell next month? Are you going to sell in a year? No. Are you going to sell in 3-5 years? Maybe. And can you predict the market at that time? No. But you might as well pay your own mortgage payment that you're comfortable with versus renting.
Yeah.
So that's going to work in every single market that you're in.
Yeah.
And you get creative. Oh, you can't afford this mortgage? Look, I found you a house with an 80 you can rent out for $1,600. And your mortgage now is cheaper than what your rent would be. And
Jasmine, you're so on point because some people might say, hey, it was the worst market ever. But I remember working with your parents. What was the last market crash? 2008, 2009? I don't remember. I mean, that year alone, one of my worst years, I sold 45 units.
Man.
Wow.
And it was like when everybody was out, losing their homes, that was probably one of my best markets. When people were saying, hey, the market's shifting, it's like last year I had another great year. I mean, 2022 was one of my best years. 2021 was an amazing year. Last month alone, it's like I was giving my numbers to my broker on a weekly, and then my coach was there, and he's like, wait a minute, you closed, I think I took 8 listings, closed 9 transactions, and had 6 openings. So it's like that's supposed to be in a horrible market. So the one thing is just find yourself an amazing mentor. I was blessed, to work with Angel and Patty. So from very early on, remember, I came from the post office, so I already had systems. And then I found a mentor that would show me the possibilities. I mean, think about it. It's like the potential is endless. So
combine the two.
Yeah.
That gives you Annabelle.
And look at you now, kicking butt.
trying to keep up.
Nice.
No, yeah, that's very true what you said. If you can just combine, because there's a lot of realtors that just fall off, and some realtors don't adapt fast enough. Like they're just so busy trying to learn one thing, and then the market changes, and then it takes them another 6 months before they catch up.
Yeah.
So a big thing is that you have to be like flexible. You have to know like, okay, what are my strengths? What do I need to like strengthen as a weakness and work on those? And like you said, be surrounded by an office. Like here with Angel and Patty, I know I can pick up the phone and be like, Angel, what the hell? Like I need help with this, or Kevin or Keith or whoever,
Exactly.
you know, and just having those people that maybe do more business than I do kind of like guide me a little bit. And this is, hey, what you could expect from that. So even having that like group mentorship is a big thing, and realtors need to place themselves in an environment like that.
Yeah, definitely have a great coach, a great mentor, because once you've mastered the skill, because you could produce that will. Once you can produce that will, then the opportunities are endless. Like right now, what's the biggest scarcity? Inventory. Do you see an inventory scarcity like here within? Are you guys taking listings?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're getting
we are.
listings.
Exactly. Like I just went to 2 listing appointments. I have 2 other listing appointments. I took 3 listings over the weekend, so where's that scarcity of listings? I'm in the same market as everyone else, but yet, the average realtor sells 3 to 4 homes. I think what's the difference between amongst us 3 is that our mindset, right? So it's our mindset. So it's who you surround yourself with.
So what advice or pointers can you give a new agent who's just about to get started?
Definitely look for a broker, aka mentor, someone that has the experience, someone that has been in the trenches, someone that's going to lead you through uncharted waters that you don't even know. You don't even know where you're going, but this person, you know that this one-man crew is going to get you to that next level. Find someone who has done the production that you're looking to do. So basically, if you're going through a broker who's only done 10, 15, 20 deals and you're looking to, produce 50, 60 units a year, then why go through a broker who has no experience to guide you? Definitely, like I said, the market is defined by you, the individual, and it's not the consumer. It's not the interest rates. It's not the loan products. It's not what's happening in the country. It's defined by you. I mean, we've lived this time and time after, and we always realize that it's us, it's the market. So definitely just put on, just focus, be coachable, and find yourself a great mentor.
And have systems in place.
And have systems in place.
That's
That should
one
be our
thing-
part
That's
too.
key
I
thing,
love
systems in place.
systems. Yes.
And consistency.
Yeah, I need a little help in that.
I'll help you. Anything and everything you could think of, I will turn into a system.
Yeah.
That's my gift. I can turn anything into a system. Like I just see a challenge and then I'll turn around. I'm like, okay, and I'll give you an example. 2022. Remember, everybody remembers May of 2022, right? When the market came to a standstill. I remember prior to May, the market was crazy. I was working anywhere from 20 to 25 buyers every month, right? And I remember when the rates went up, they went from 2 to 5%. So all the escrows were canceled. Buyers didn't want to buy. So guess what I did? I told my assistant, okay, we're going to refocus and restructure our office to become listing based. So prior to May, I was doing 80% buyers, 20% listings, right? Come June, I restructured. In July, I started again. It was 80% listings and then 20% buyers. And even my broker said, who does that? I said, someone who's mastered their their skill, right?
How do you make a switch that fast? So like, how are people now like, oh, I want to now list with, is it marketing, or like, how does that become?
Again, it's the
fruition?
mindset. It's the mindset because I structured my systems where 75% of my day I was going to focus it just on listing inventory, and very minimal on buyers. So, and that's how we were able to do it within a month. We went that first month, and I've said it, I took 13 listings because I was like, and then from then on, I average anywhere from 5, sometimes there's 7, sometimes there's 8. So last year, I ended up with 65 listings. That was 2022. And this year, I should end up like somewhere about 110, 112 listings.
Nice. Wow.
You need a whole team behind you. Just
I
kidding.
know. Do you and how many people are on your team?
Well, actually, it's just Jazz and I. So Jazz, I have a full admin, so she helps me. And this week she's on vacation, so guess what? I'm doing everything. So I'm doing my listing appointments. I'm doing my lead follow-up. I'm doing my answering my phones. I'm doing my emails. I'm doing my counters. I'm doing my disclosures. So the people that say that it can't be done, it can be done. Obviously, it's going to stop your growth if you don't have a team. So it's Jazz. And then a couple of weeks ago, I just had one of the agents that just got her license. So I'm hiring my first full-time buyer's agent. So
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. That's exciting.
That is awesome. So, when you said you just switched your systems to now become a listing agent, right? Was that with hitting the expireds, or how did that look for you? Like, how was your prospecting different at that point?
it's different because and it's also different in the message you're delivering on social media. When you're talking on social media, when you're talking to agents, when you're showing homes, are you showing homes as a buyer's agent or are you showing homes as a listing agent? When you're doing your open houses, are you showing the open houses? Are you catering to the buyers? Are you looking? I'm not. When I'm at an open house, I'm looking for listings. I'm looking for sellers. So I start interviewing that week. It's like I'll do door knocking, I'll do cold calling, I'll do texting, I'll do social media. So by the time that seller meets me, they're like, well, I know you, you're that realtor. And then plus I do my own signs. I know a lot of it's like, so I show them the value versus hiring me versus the competition. It's like, if I can do this before you hire me, imagine when you hire me.
Nice. So you're out there putting your signs out. Woo.
That's the most embarrassing. I'm like crossing the street. I'm like, don't look at me.
No, I do it
Hopefully
all
no
the
one
time,
sees
and I
me.
do it on Pride. It's like, imagine showing them. I mean, it's like I'm in my sweats, but this is done before 7:00 in the morning. All my signs are up.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many signs do you put up per property?
Anywhere from 40 to 60,
Wow.
at least.
That's your morning exercise.
40 to 60 signs at least.
Skirt, hurry, babe, get out of the car. Where my sign up?
Wow.
That's
Nice.
awesome. So where do you see yourself growing? Like, do you maybe one day want to have your own brokerage, or is that just kind of like not something you're into?
The reason that I do this, see, that's understanding your why. To me, I love teaching. So I hope, you can hear, it comes through, like you could see that through me because I love teaching. So eventually what I would love to do is just coach and mentor. Maybe not, that's why I'm doing this, to be able to show you the possibilities, what's possible. And therefore I can be that person that's going to guide you and navigate you through those uncharted waters and different market trenches.
Yeah.
Do you have any coaches that you recommend to new agents? I know you're on the California, SoCal area. Do you have any coach? Or actually, do you know coaches nationwide as well, or that you
Mike
recommend?
Ferry. Yeah, Mike Ferry. Mike Ferry is like, why reinvent the wheel when it's already been invented? It's like success leaves clues. So Mike Ferry was very successful in selling real estate. Mike Ferry has been. Let me tell you, when I first started with Mike Ferry, like I said, I already had the discipline that was instilled with Angel and Patty. So at that point, I was no longer with the brokers, so I needed to keep that feeding my mind, right? So I hired Mike Ferry, and since then, it's been like almost every year I grow in production, and then if not, it doubles. So definitely, find a good coach. There's, Tom Ferry, there's Mike Ferry, it's whomever you feel comfortable with.
And are you still does Mike Ferry still like coach you? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. So you've had coaching, you say, like for a long duration of your.
I'm going to say Mike
Career.
Ferry has been for, let's just say, for the last 12 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Because
Yeah.
some realtors are not able to are not willing to commit to that level.
To any type of coaching, huh?
Yeah.
Say so.
Like, I got a month. I'm good.
Or they don't want to spend the money.
But it's crazy because it's almost like, how could you say you don't want to spend the money? It's if in your, let's say you spend $12,000 a year, right? If you're spending $12,000, but then in return you're going to make $600,000-$700,000. Why not?
Absolutely.
Right?
That's a good point.
That's all the difference. And it's like, how could you tell your clients to invest when you yourself are not willing to invest in yourself? It's kind of like the wrong message.
Yeah.
So as a realtor, you're making an income, blah, blah. Do you have any other sources of income that you practice or?
It's just like anything, when in order to be able to succeed, you do have to, you build it through wealth. So we're selling real estate. So why not have that passive income through real estate? I do own real estate, so that helps me, that and just doing this. And then obviously my husband has his business that he was established too. So that's another passive income. So just those three and real estate, and then I'll do a flip here and there, and then that's it. But
How many investment properties do you have?
a total of 12 doors.
Yeah.
So
Any
not
apartment?
much, but no, just like duplex.
It's more than the average.
Yeah, but I'm getting there. I mean, that's the whole point. You know, that's the whole
Yeah.
point. You know, where eventually, we'll retire. We'll retire.
I know.
Nice. What advice would you give a realtor to buy his first property?
Okay, here's the one thing. It's like for me, every check that I make, I transfer $2,000. So it's like I never see that money. Before I get paid, I transfer to. So if I close 60 units, it's $120,000 a year. That's left behind. If I close 50 units, it's $100,000. So every $2,000 out of each paycheck. So I never see it, and I can't borrow it unless I'm buying a property.
Don't forget the IRS. I'm just kidding.
No, but that's fine. But think about it. It's $2,000. Doesn't matter because that's a sacrifice. Anything worth having is going to take a sacrifice. So you have to do those sacrifices.
Yeah.
Nice.
I know that's me and my husband's goal too. We have 6 stores.
Oh, wow.
6 stores. But I feel like so small. I'm like, oh, I only need 6 stores. You suck.
I have 6 too.
But I think with me, I'm so anxious to grow. I'm like, well, why don't I have all the money to buy all the homes?
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. But it's a process, and I get that.
Let's do a challenge.
But I
See who
want all
gets
the
to 100 doors
doors.
first.
Ooh, let's do it. I like that.
You're at 12 already.
Hey,
Just
but
give
you
me-
guys are younger, more energy. So I think that offsets it, right?
Give me 1 year.
I'll just 1031 everything, go buy an apartment.
Right? I know.
Let me move back in with my mom.
Just kidding.
So overall, we'll kind of end it right now, but where do you see our market going?
Where do we see our market going? Right now is the best time for buyers to buy. Why? Because affordability is at an all-time best. If your buyers do not invest in the next 45 to 60 days, they're not going to be able to buy or have the type of mortgage that they're going to have now for the next 7 to 10 years. So if they think they're by saving 50, 100, 200,000, they're doing themselves a favor, no. It's buy when you can afford to buy, because why? If you look at the table of payments, if you buy a house today, even using the first-time homebuyer programs, and you just make one extra payment a month, on average right now, that'd be about $1,500. I'm sorry, one extra payment a year. I think that's about $1,500 into the principal the first 20 years. If you just make that one extra payment, you'll finish paying your home off within 22 years. In essence, shaving about 8 years, saving you about $225,000 in interest. So imagine they're trying to save $50,000 to not make $250,000.
Wow.
It is crazy
Yeah.
the interest. I'm
See?
like,
Yeah.
you buy your house at like $850, and then at the end of 30 years, you would have paid 1.6 for it or
Yeah,
something.
it's almost 3
right?
times. I mean, that's if you get a great rate, but for the most part, it's about 3 times whatever it is. So just imagine, that's why I said start buying now, start paying into your principal now, because people are worried about a 7% interest rate when they're paying 100% interest rate to the landlord. That doesn't make any sense, right? Yeah, so.
That's crazy.
And then for sellers, I mean, affordability is an all-time. I mean, right now, if they are not willing to sell now within the next 6 months, then they're going to be stuck in their home for the next 10 years, because that's how long it takes for the market to shift, right?
For the cycle to happen again.
So it's about 10 years. So right now, if they don't sell now, which is probably one of the best times to sell, because we have limited shortage. I mean, we don't have enough inventory. Without enough inventory, there's a supply and demand that's in their best interest, right? Because right now we only have about a month and a half of reserves of housing, which means if no one lists their home right now, then we'd be out of inventory within a month and a half. Okay. Which means multiple offers.
Yeah.
Which means higher price points, right?
Yep.
So.
And
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing is shortage of inventory right now.
And you know what? And it's crazy because I don't think we've ever seen this market where it's advantageous for both the buyer and the seller to actually either buy or sell currently. I don't think it's a buyer's market. It's a seller's market. But I think right now it's a market for both, because
A neutral market.
because right now I think the FHA are, what are the interest rates? Like 5.5 by 5.87,
I think you can get away with the
Yeah,
5.5 right now.
I think it's like a 5.8.
5.8.
and normal market conditions for us is what, a 6.8, a 6.5% interest rate. So we're still below normal interest rates. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see where we all end up or where this market goes. So,
But again, just have the right mindset, people.
stay positive.
Exactly.
Right mindset.
Focus.
Exactly.
But thank you just for being you, for being Annabelle. You're awesome. You're amazing.
Aw,
I love
thank
all
you,
your
Jesly.
systems and your energy. So continue to be great.
Thank you. And we
Awesome.
should do a podcast on just in systems.
Absolutely.
There's a system for
Absolutely.
everything.
Yeah, we'll do
Perfect.
that.
Awesome.
Well, Annabelle, it's always a pleasure. We really appreciate you coming down here. I know your time is valuable. Let's give a round of applause, everybody.
Thank you both. Thank you, Jasleen. Thank you, Keith.
Let's end it with another rap.
End it with the rap. End it with the rap.
Okay. And this is why I'm a realtor. Sorry.
All right, guys. Awesome.
That's it? Damn, this beat's like, ooh.
I know. This
Yo,
should be a
Jasleen,
prospect.
give me.
You do a rap.
That's why
I live with my mom. I just spent my house.
I don't know where that's coming from. All right, guys. Awesome.
It's Shady Jasleen in the morning.
DJ Keith in the house. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching our podcast. Please tune in next week for our sales webinar, our class, and our next podcast. Other than that, have a great week.
Go get more listings.
Go get more listings. Go get some sales.
Woo!